What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Hey, I just packed up for my trip. I don't have nothing else to do. I took a long nap. But now my plane leaves 7 o'clock in the morning, so I got to get up 4 o'clock. You know, you got to be there real early. So I said, well, what the heck? I ain't got nothing else to do. Let's do some of these reactions because we got to keep them coming. Check this out, man. I will say you got to excuse the studio, but it's been messy for quite some time now. Excuse the studio, y'all. Anyway, check this out, man. Diddy begs to push trial back to June. This destroys Diddy's chances of a quick trial, basically. Hey, check it out, man. I'm gonna look it up while we actually doing this reaction. I don't know how long the O.J. Simpson trial was. I thought it was over a year. I'm banking that this trial is gonna be longer than 2 years. And a lot of other YouTubers are saying it's not gonna be that long. You know, I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't know, but I'm doing a guesstimation of 3 years. I'm counting close to 3 years, so longer than 2 years, but closer to 3 years. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and I'm just guessing, man. You know, let's have some fun and guess. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Forget it. Hey, sit down. Come on in, close the door and sit down. We got Teacher Tales, y'all. Let's check this bad boy out. Here we go.
Chatting with this tweeting from the inner city press.
Wait a minute. We ain't hear I want to hear the close the door, sit down, and shut your mouth. Something like that she said. Watch this.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Sean Diddy Combs,
she didn't say it.
You are in a world of hurt. You guys, what am I talking about?
What am
Diddy
I talking about?
Has officially been brought in for arraignment. The inner city press is live tweeting. We got to get this to you. Let's get into it. We're going to live tweet. Well, we're actually covering the live tweeting from the inner city press. This is the same live tweet that every major news organization is covering. We're live tweet, but we're also going to break down the madness of what is actually going on. All right, with no further ado, how y'all doing today? I know it's been a while, but the Diddy case is
how y'all doing?
You know we're going to be covering the trial, but we just wanted to actually get this going. Okay, so let's go again. Okay, the first thing, and this is live, this is happening now.
Happening right now.
The first thing that they are saying is Sean Diddy Combs is bought in. He has white hair and short beard, chatting with his 2 lawyers at the defense table. There are 6 people at the prosecution's table. They are waiting for the judge. Now, first off, Diddy, you are not fooling us. We know you are still trying to act like you are old man River. His plan is to look bloated, to look out of shape. I know that's Diddy on the regular, but they're saying his plan is to look bloated and out of shape so that when Cassie comes on the stand, beautiful, crying, and heavily pregnant, okay, when that happens, they're going to look at Diddy and be like, he couldn't have done it. He looks so frail. Mofo, you was rugging people and acting a fool. I 100% believe you did it. Nice try, Diddy. It's not going to work. His hair is white. You went from having beiging in your hair all the time and just for men, dark and lovely, natural black in your hair. Now your hair is all white. Shut up.
Because he can't get that type of stuff in jail.
Anyway, ready. There are 6 people at the prosecution's table. Diddy thought he could outmaneuver and outspin the United States government. They put on 6 lead prosecutors, and that's not even counting the prosecutors that are the people that are assisting the prosecution. Diddy, you picked the right one this time. Anyway, right? All rise. This is happening live if you're just joining us, all right? All rise, the judge. Mr. Combs, have you seen the April 3rd indictment? Yes. This is Diddy. Yes, I do, Judge. Okay, Mr. Combs, how do you plead? Not guilty, Judge. Mr. Agnifilio, what can you tell me? Mr. Agnifilio, Yana, this is a superseding indictment. Had a substantial new charge. Yana, we'd like to discuss a 2-week postponement of openings. Did he try to postpone the trial? effort. Anyway, Yana, we like to discuss a 2-week postponing of openings due to discovery issues. I don't want to disrupt the jury selection process. Miss Garagos, that's Diddy's co-lawyer. Your Honor, I thought my letter under seal. The problem that we see is with discovery about the alleged victim number 2. Alleged. She continues. Your Honor, we resolved that. But the alleged victim of the forced labor predicate, she was employed there for a significant period of time. Oh, okay. So I thought the forced labor was one of Diddy's assistants. Apparently it's not. I believe the person taking in the forced labor, I believe that person actually might be the chef. Remember the chef that sued Diddy, where she said that she was forced to bring Diddy food while he was laying around naked and doing all this other stuff? Yeah. Apparently, this is the same woman that they are now saying was forced slave labor. Now, Diddy did settle with her, but she was saying that she didn't think she got all the money that she should have gotten. Well, she got all the money that she wanted. She should have gotten more. We didn't know those were free calls back then, but she is now coming back. She did sign an NDA with Diddy, but an NDA, as you know, in criminal trials does not count. So we know that this person for the forced labor is a woman. I think it might be the chef. Anyway, Diddy's lawyer goes on to say, this is real-time tweeting if you guys are just cupping up. Your Honor, she's been small C cooperating with the U.S. She's taken screenshots, but the rest, the U.S. has not taken possession of. What is he talking about? Small C cooperating? Are they speaking in code? Small C cooperating. Okay, anyway, she has turned against Diddy, but the gag is she was never with Diddy. So what do you mean she's been small C cooperating? Diddy's lawyers are so unserious. Your Honor, okay, so if you guys are just joining us, we are live tweeting through the inner city press. Cameras are not allowed in the courtroom. Everything that you're hearing is everything that you're hearing is every single thing that all these big major organizations are talking about. So you're not missing a thing. 2 explosive things. The trial, they're trying to push the trial back 2 weeks. So basically 12 plus 2, 14, basically to the end of May. They're also concerned about the forced labor. Now, they were trying to make it seem like it was a male that was doing it, but they are very concerned with the forced labor. They're saying that basically trying to imply that, basically trying to imply that Diddy is being framed and that this girl is a cooperating witness. But the real gag is, right? The real gag is, this girl was never cooperating with Diddy at all, and she sued Diddy. So it is what it is. Anyway, let's get into this. Let's get back into this, shall we? Yes, we shall. All right.
Yes, we shall. Okay.
So they say, Your Honor, this is Tinny Garagos. This is Diddy's other lawyer. Your Honor, she's cherry picking messages. There are over 100,000 emails and messages the U.S. is not taking possession of. Combs Global was subpoenaed, but we don't have her company emails. 3 weeks before trial, we may ask for a Rule 17 subpoena. Okay, you guys, this is important too. Every second there is new breaking information coming down. Hold on, you guys. This is important too. 1 second. Okay. Why is this so important? Because again, this is unfolding live. So as it comes down, we are going to be having, this is unfolding live. So as it goes down, we are going to be having updates. But you guys, new information came out. I thought this was the chef. However, now they're saying this woman had a small business and there are 100,000 emails and messages the U.S. is not taking a case of. This actually might be Diddy's PR person. Could it be KK? Could KK be trying to turn on Diddy? And she's the one saying that, guess what? I was forced to do this.
That's a good one. I ain't never looked at it that way.
I didn't want to coordinate freak offs. I was 100% forced to do this. I don't know, guys. But it very well could be that. Okay. Also, Garagos says, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Agnophilia, Your Honor, there are 3 screenshots of an incident that will be discussed at trial, but the government now tells us she's no longer has the whole WhatsApp chat. Your Honor, we are trying to wrap our arms around this. We are in untenable position. Now, this is the gag. One of the best trial lawyers in the world, his name was Anthony Rico. I know, ironic. He was also the only Black person Diddy had on counsel, which I think is important because you need to have a Black person on counsel if you're going to say this is a case of discrimination. And Mark Agnifilio talking about, can a Black man get a break, does not hit the same. However, Anthony Rico quit. Why? Because he told Diddy, you are not ready for trial. He looked at Garagos and he looked at Agnifilio and he said, none of us are ready for trial. He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, we are being led to a bloodbath. You are not ready for trial. You tried to outsmart the federal government. You tried to think if you ran to trial, the government wouldn't have a case. And the government said, we don't need 100 blank trafficking victims. All we need is to bring you to heel. That's all we need is to bring 4 people in and countless other witnesses. And baby, we got you dead to rights. Again, there is no buy one, get one free quantity for sex trafficking. So Diddy ran the trial. He waived he enforced his right to speedy trial. This trial actually should have started in 2026. But he thought the government would be unprepared. Mark Agnifilio swore to him, yo, they're going to be unprepared. Don't worry about it. So what ended up happening? Well, now the government is prepared. And guess what? Diddy, along with Mark Agnifilio, is now begging for an extension. All right, let's get back into this. That's why. And so the fact that they're saying, Yana, we're trying to wrap our arms around this. We're in an untenable position. Again, where am I getting this information? It is being live tweeted from the Inner City Press. They are one of the most authoritative and only people. Cameras are not allowed. They give great coverage. They have legal training. You guys are not getting better coverage anywhere else. So sit down and have a seat.
Sit down and have a seat,
anyway,
baby.
They said there are screenshots of an incident that were discussed at trial, but the government now tells us she no longer has the whole WhatsApp trap. So they're trying to use this as an excuse. They're trying to use this as an excuse to actually slow everything down.
Because they know they got some real stuff.
I'm just getting more information.
Because they got some real evidence that they didn't realize they was going to have.
Hold on.
Like, they got the drugs that was in people's body. Yeah, that's some real evidence right there, most definitely.
1 second.
While she Googling something, let me Google something real quick. Uncle Mike about to do some research. I think.
1 second.
Y'all in trouble if I'm doing research.
I have people in the courtroom too. Okay, so I have people in the courtroom too. And I'm just messaging with them to make sure that we're getting this right.
Oh, shoot. I wonder
okay, yes. We are back. And of course, yes. So they are, in fact, begging for a postponement to May. And the excuse they're using is, Your Honor, this is untenable. We're trying to get our heads around what's going on. Okay. Okay. So let's get back into this.
Okay. While she finding her spot. The O.J. Simpson trial lasts for approximately 8 months. So I might want to take one of them years away and just say 2 years. I know it's going to be longer than a year. I think this trial going to be longer than a year. Diddy going to be in court with all these cases, period. With the total amount of cases, he going to be in court for 3 years. I know that much.
Your Honor, she's cherry-picking messages. There are 100,000 emails and messages the U.S. has not taken possession of. Combs Global was subpoenaed, but we don't have her company emails. 3 weeks before the trial, we may ask for a Rule 17 subpoena. Okay? We'll get into what a Rule 17 subpoena is, but they're basically trying to say that they want the her text messages, who was the forced labor, excluded because it's not taken into entirety, and they are cherry picking. Yana,
Man,
we had
go sit
3
down somewhere.
screenshots of an incident that will be discussed at trial, but the government now tells us she no longer has the whole WhatsApp chat. And we're trying to wrap our arms around this. We're in an untenable situation. The judge.
Dude.
Counselor, you call your request unusual, but the government calls it unprecedented. Can you cite a case? So the government's basically calling Diddy's lawyers out saying, stop it. We're not giving you sympathy. They're destroying thing. And they're saying the government said this is unprecedented. Basically, you guys are overreaching and asking for something that doesn't exist. Yana, there's the Avenatti case. Here, the harm is very great. Counselor, can this be weighed with the Nixon factors? Again, we'll get into what the Avenatti case and what the Nixon factors are. But the Avenatti case is basically the fact that, remember Avenatti, he was the lawyer that was suing Trump. And he got like thrown out of everything. And now he's in jail with Stormy Daniels. Well, the Avenatti case is actually very, very interesting because the Avenatti case was saying that they submitted information against Michael Avenatti, but Avenatti was saying that and here's the thing, he got literally put in jail for trying to extort Nike. It was so odd. It seemed like a frame and a setup, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, with the Avenatti case, his whole thing is you guys are cherry picking information. And by cherry picking it, you're making it look very, very bad. However, the Nixon case is basically saying that like, okay, but when you have like 10,000, we're only using what is relevant. So while there might be 10,000 messages, 9,000 are to DoorDash. The other 1,000 are her arguing with her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. We're only focusing on the things that are relevant to this case. Okay. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Mark Agnifilio jumps in. Yana, I'm not sure what that possession of the materials is a whole ball game. The U.S. attorney jumps in. Your Honor, this arrangement was supposed to be later in the week, but on Saturday we learned that the defendant, Diddy, might be seeking an adjournment of the trial. This is not new conduct. Diddy is ridiculous. You know what the funny thing is? Diddy is doing the legal equivalent of dipping and diving, shucking and jiving. He literally is like, you can't see me. And the government is like, Diddy, we can see you. You wanted this trial. This is going to court. Now they're trying to get an adjournment. Okay. So basically they're saying that every time it becomes close to trial, they make a big smoke screen. They throw up all this stuff that has no legal weight. True, it happened, but there needs to be precedent. So the facts of the case have to line up. They're saying that there's literally no legal weight. And on top of that, right? On top of that, on top of that, on Saturday, Diddy wants an adjournment of the trial, which means he wants the trial paused with no clear date on when it will return. Yeah. So the judge looks at the government. Prosecutors, would you object to an adjournment on the discovery issues? Prosecutors, they ain't letting Diddy go. Yes, we would, Your Honor. Your Honor, we told that our review of victim 2's iCloud is complete. On victim 4, a month ago, we learned of additional emails, for example, to the defendant and others. Your Honor, the government is not in possession of all these emails, nor are we in control. I see. Mm-hmm. Is there a law? This is a judge. I see, counselor. Is there a law addressing that issue that even if the government could get the emails, it's not control? Yes, Your Honor. We could get the court law on that after this hearing. Oh, after this hearing. Oh, so they're saying in court that Diddy's team looked a bit shocked when the judge said that. So the judge, counselors, what terms were searched? The U.S. attorney, Your Honor, we searched Diddy's name and some of the victims' names. Okay, counselor. The victim is represented by counsel. The defense doesn't have your communications with them. If you turn them over, it would obviate the need for adjournment. Okay, so now they're saying, so basically Mark Agnifilio is saying, we need time. We don't want the trial to start May 12th. We want it to start the first week of June. Because we have more information and we haven't had a chance to look over it, that's why we want it. The government's saying, absolutely not. You've known about this. We're not giving adjournment. Okay, that's great. So what's happening now? The issue is the judge is trying to find a median and they're like, listen, if you give them the evidence now, I think that we can avoid adjournment. Diddy's team is sweating bullets. They do not want this. Okay. So they go on to say that in the trial, what were the terms search? What could be happening? This, that, and the third. They are still arguing about what should actually happen. Let's get back into this. This is being live tweeted directly through Inner City Press. This is the live stream that all the major newscasters and major tech streams are using. Do not think that you guys will get better information anywhere else. This is really good. Okay. So the last thing the judge said is, that's why there's a delay. The judge says, prosecutors, the victims represented by counsel, the defense doesn't have your communications with them. If you turn them over, it would obviate the need for adjournment. U.S. attorneys jumped in. Your Honor, the defense has already received our enterprise letter and over 3,500 pieces of material. If they're going to move for an adjournment, they should make an application before this Friday's conference or sooner. Judge, Mr. Agnifilio, if you make a request, make it rifle shot. That means make it as soon as possible. The judge says,
make it Ralph. Wait a minute.
Counselors, we are a freight train moving toward.
Hold up. Make it rifle shot. Is that the word she used? Rifle shot? Like, pew! Maybe that's a.
Yes, make it rifle shot. That means make it as soon as possible.
Make it rifle shot. That must be court talk.
The judge says,
never heard of that.
Counselors, we are a freight train moving toward trial. If you're going to move for an adjournment, it will have to be in the next 48 hours. Let's turn to the enterprise letters. The U.S. Attorney's Office says, Your Honor, our investigation remains ongoing. Dun, dun, dun. People said Diddy's heart looks like it dropped in court. I'm also, so this is live
tweeting.
You
hear that all the time.
That are saying what Diddy looks like. They're saying that it looks like Diddy's heart has dropped in court. He looks actually visibly startled. Mark Agnifilio has cleared his throat. Tinny Garagos seems like unfazed. However, it seems like with that last enterprise letter, Diddy was led to believe that the government's investigation had stopped. The government is saying, oh, we're still investigating. This leads us to believe that the government is going to be investigating up to the time of court. Now, the judge did promise that they would give superseding indictments. However, it's important to know that with these superseding indictments, it's important to know that with these superseding indictments, usually if they're too close to trial, they won't be added. However, Diddy's team should very well be worried that with these superseding indictments, you can apply specially to have them submitted to court. So that's one thing too. Let's also get into this. Oh gosh, this is not good for Diddy. Okay, so last thing they said is that their investigation remains ongoing. They are currently arguing back and forth. They're waiting for what the judge actually says. However, one thing that I think is actually true about this, hold on.
You're going to be hearing a lot of that. Diddy is going to be sad.
One thing that's actually true that we actually should know about this is this lets us know that Diddy's team was not prepared for defense. This lets us know that Diddy's team was only, right? Diddy's team was only prepared for what they got. Diddy's whole defense is Cassie must have enjoyed it. Cassie must have liked it. And they really thought they were going to go against federal sex trafficking charges with this. Couple things we didn't know. Anthony Rico was right to leave the case. And remember when he left, he said, one, they were woefully unprepared. And he hinted that there was something going on that he would not be a part of due to legal integrity. Leads us to believe the judge saying that Diddy was trying to jury tamper and Diddy was trying to witness tamper. It is all actually going on. I believe that we have some sort of update. Let's hold tight on this and see what we can actually get into.
I'm trying to wait to the end.
Hold on, guys. It appears that are there updates? Okay, the investigation remains ongoing. Are there any other things? Okay, The judge has said that we are bowing for trial. They're saying, barring something that actually steps on Diddy's constitutional rights, they have no plans at all to slow down anything for trial. So if Diddy thinks that's what's going to happen, he is sorely out of luck. Again, this is being live tweeted. They are getting into it. On top of that, a couple of takeaways. Diddy is going to have to submit his request for an adjournment till, I believe, the end of May, early June, in the next 48 hours. Diddy is 100% submitting that. They are not ready for trial. They have not been ready for trial. Besides trying to slut shame Cassie, they don't have a defense at all.
Nope.
Besides trying to smut shame Cassie, they don't have a defense.
Nope.
On top of that, Diddy is doing everything he can, PR-wise, to look old, weak, and fragile. His hair is now white. They are saying he is like a little pudgy. He is, his waist has overgrown. Again, not so much because he's eating oodles and noodles, but more to the fact of, and this is the most important thing, more to the fact of he is trying to make himself look like, like kind of harmless. But I don't know, a 300-pound pervert is just as intimidating as a 100-pound pervert. Anyway,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
Okay, here we go.
This is crazy, man.
So after, just to bring you guys up to speed, they have now started again arguing. Let's get into this. The judge again said, you counselors, we are a freight train moving toward trial. If you're going to move for an adjournment, it will have to be in the next 48 hours. Let's turn to the enterprise letters. The enterprise letters, if you guys don't know, is where they name their co-conspirators. The U.S. Attorney's Office said, Your Honor, our investigation remains ongoing. Diddy's lawyers jump in. Your Honor, as to victim 5, that is going to be Miss Shapiro's argument. Alexandra Shapiro is not here today, but Your Honor, she'll be here on Friday. She says, the judge says, okay, then, counselor, on Friday, then I'll note that the government might have applied to me to amend the enterprise letter. So, breaking news. There's been a 5th victim that the government not only did identify, but they put in the enterprise letter. Now, if you guys are wondering what the enterprise letter is, the enterprise letter is the letter that you have for it names co-conspirators. Diddy knows who his named co-conspirators are. However, they have not released that to the public. It will be released, of course, in trial. This is not over. There's more going. But breaking news, and you guys are the first to hear this, there is a 5th victim. There is a 5th victim. There actually might even be many more victims. Right now, they're arguing over they need more time to research victims. We found out last week that there were 4 victims. How did we find that out? Because in Diddy's letter. However, the government is saying you have a letter called the enterprise letter when we name other victims. Now Diddy's team are arguing over whether the 5th victim, this is new news, the 5th victim should be allowed in. And they're also going to say that Alexandra Shapiro, no relation to, O.J. Simpson Shapiro, will be in court on Friday to argue against victim number 5. And the government is amending the enterprise letter. That means that they might be adding in new people or new names. At the very least, they will not be taking anything away from the enterprise letters. It goes on. The U.S. Attorney says, Your Honor, that's not the usual practice in Southern District of New York or Eastern District of New York. But we can do that. On 404B, if you can help give us guidance for Friday, it would be a help, okay? The judge literally said, I will put myself on prosecution, I will put myself on a 48-hour clock. That means that they will have the answer way before Friday. So if you guys don't know what Rule 404B is, I'll break this down while we're waiting for the next live tweet to come in. Again, cameras are not allowed in the courtroom, so we are giving real time. Rule 404B is crimes, wrongs, and other acts. Evidence of a crime, wrong, or other act is not admissible to prove a person's character in order to show that a particular occasion the person acted in accordance with that character. Okay. So basically, the judge is bringing up victims. Remember when people are like, oh, what's the big deal? Diddy did this, but you can't prosecute. The judge said, well, the prosecution is saying, all your victims, you think you got around it because they can't bring civil cases. Civil cases can't pay money. Baby, we are trying to put you in jail. And they're saying, even though they didn't bring up individual cases, they are saying that you either raped them, that you beat them, that you did all this stuff. Interestingly enough, last week, Diddy's team hinted that Kim Porter's diary, and her notes and stuff that they said didn't exist, they want to stop the government from actually bringing it in too. So it looks like Kim Porter might be testifying through notes, text messages and stuff from the grave against Diddy. But let's get into the 404B. A lot of these victims are going to sit there and the government wants them to testify. Diddy's team came in and said, nah, you can't do that. Because if you do that, that's testifying toward my character. And you can't put my character on display or on the
trial, basically.
However, there are notable exceptions to that. You can use your past things to show motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake, or lack of accidents. The prosecution must be given notice, right? Must give notice before trial if they intend to use it. So what are they trying to say? They're trying to say this, Diddy, we're not trying you for whether you raped this woman. We're not trying you for whether you beat this woman or man or intimidated or harassed. That's not what the charges are. We're bringing them on the stand to prove that this is what you always do. This is your modus operandi. This is your scheme. This is what you always do. You invite people back. You hand them a Welch's grape soda. You literally invite them to a party saying you want to help them with their acting career or help them with their singing career or do whatever. And then you do A, B, and C, and that's how you lock it in. You did the same thing with Cassie that you did with victim 2, victim 3, victim 4, victim 5, and there might be numerous other secret victims, which might be why the government is asking for, which might be why the government is asking for
120 victims.
Why the government wants the trial to proceed, and Diddy is asking for a delay. Okay, we have a new tweet in. This is being live tweeted. Let's get into this because Diddy's team was caught flat-footed.
You go, girl.
Woo, this is humiliating.
You go, girl.
Okay. So,
they got another trial tomorrow or something's happening Friday.
Okay. So they're saying that Diddy is looking at his team. He is basically looking at them like, ref, do something. He wants them to do or say nothing. They are flat-footed. They say that they have quietly indicated, this is live tweeting and, people in the courtroom texting me. They're saying that they quietly indicated to Diddy to not say or do anything and just play it cool. Diddy is said to look angry. They said it's a weird fluctuation between him trying to look like pitiful, but also his anger keeps flaring. And the way he's holding his head, it looks like the demon is.
These people, man, your lawyers, the black lawyer, I hate to call him black lawyer, but I don't know his name. Dude, he quit. He knew they weren't going to win. Diddy knows he ain't gonna win. After he gave up on that see, Diddy was like, I'm the man, I'm in jail, but we're gonna get through this tomorrow. We're gonna get through this the next day. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get to an island, nobody gonna know where I'm at. He was gonna run. It ain't no doubt in my freaking mind he was gonna run. Now, after them 3 denies, oh man, we gotta fight. I got the top lawyers. We got to fight to get out. You might lose. You lost them getting out on bail. You lost. Diddy, if you did this, you will be in jail. If you didn't do it, you would have been home by now. Point blank. 120 cases. And people still popping up. They popping up. They just popping. You know what you did? Having sexual intercourses with a fish. Do you get in the water with the fish? What is wrong with this man?
Out. He looks pissed. He looks like he might be trying to do a Diddy bop on Mark Agnifilio when they get back to jail. The lawyers are saying that they have nothing more. Diddy is looking more like a dark cloud is forming over his head. They are saying he is upset. The judge seems to have taken note of that, briefly glanced at Diddy. Diddy's face completely changed to show one of respectfulness, but they think that the judge might have caught Diddy's glowering. Again, not good for the judge to see you looking angry, like you're trying to say that it shouldn't be used. The judge hesitantly says, okay, everyone, if there's nothing else, I'll see you Friday. Adjourned. Okay, the case has been adjourned. You guys, this was live tweeting directly from Diddy's case. There are a lot of things that they went over. Again, what do we learn? There are way more than 4 victims. The government is now trying to fight the 5th victim. Diddy's team kept that a secret that the government does have more victims. On top of that, Diddy is trying to get this trial postponed for 2 weeks. More, he already got it postponed to the 12th. He now wants to get this postponed to June 1st. Why is this important? Well, let me just tell you guys really quick before we go, because it's actually really embarrassing for Diddy. Why is this important? Well, for a couple of things. Okay, let's get into this. One, this trial to happen sooner than it had to. The government wanted to slow down. The judge wanted to slow down. He kicked, hollered, screamed, hooted. Mark Agnifilio, Yana, this is a travesty. The judge asked Mark Agnifilio a million times, are you sure you're going to be ready for court? Now, when the judge makes the calendar, the judge has other cases they have to try. Diddy is not the only case they're trying. So when the judge was like, are you sure you're going to be ready? And asked them a billion times over really months. It wasn't just for Diddy's thing. It was so that her court calendar, everything has a calendar because everything has to be organized with other trials could be plugged in. Again, if they postpone this trial, it messes up the judge's whole schedule, court trial and court calendar, and it messes up other people's trials that have nothing to do with Diddy. It's very, very bad. And judges get very, very annoyed at it. It's almost like you begging your doctor for an appointment. And they're like, are you sure you're going to be here Friday at 9 a.m.? And you're like, I swear. And they're like, are you sure you're going to be here Friday at 9 a.m.? Because I'm leaving vacation early and I'm coming back and I'm going to be on this thing at 9 a.m. and Friday. You better be there. And then Friday at 8:47, you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can make it. Can I reschedule? And the doctor's looking at you like, you better bring yourself in here. So that's why the judge, Diddy's like, oh my God, I might need to push this back. That's another reason why they keep using all the witnesses, because the judge is saying, you knew that this was happening and you not being ready for trial. That's your own business. We told you, I gave you a million chances. You still said no. Guess what? We're moving full steam ahead. Diddy's team is trying to save face, saying, no, and we were ready. But now with these new witnesses, the government and the judge seem to agree. You already knew about this. We told you this is going to happen. You still fought us to actually be on trial. I'll see you. Unless there is something come hell or high water, we will see you on May the 12th. And we're going to enter into discovery and pretrial conferences. Diddy's team is saying, no, we have a good reason. The judge is like, what is it? And the judge told Diddy's team, you have 48 hours to give a reason why you are now trying to slow this trial down. Because if not, to quote the judge, we are a freight train and we are moving toward trial. It seems like Diddy's lawyers, Mark Agnifilio, wrote a check that Diddy's butt couldn't cash. Diddy is in a bad way. He's not prepared. He has no excuse to slow the trial down. And all his griping and complaining, the judge isn't trying to hear it. Because since this was first arraigned months ago, the judge has been begging Diddy, are you sure you don't want to slow it down? Are you sure? And Mark Agnifilio got himself up each day with Diddy sitting there looking like, yeah, saying, we're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. And now they're sitting here looking stupid. Diddy just got humiliated. Diddy just got humiliated. Diddy just got humiliated in court. But more importantly, expose the fact that his whole legal team is not ready for trial, or at the
Damn,
very least,
man.
they have no excuse for what Diddy did to these multiple victims. It looks like the trial is still going to happen on the 12th. However, Diddy has 48 hours to submit paperwork. And after those 48 hours, the judge will rule on whether they're an adjournment. So there is a possibility that it will happen around the end of May, June 1st, 2 weeks from May the 12th. However, the judge seems like he said it is a freight train and they are moving forward. A couple of things that also got brought up, the 404, Diddy is trying to say that it is unfair that the judge is bringing witnesses, that Diddy, even though he was not held criminally liable, people that said that Diddy tried to sex traffic them, people that said Diddy might have raped them and that he assaulted. Why? Diddy is saying you cannot bring these people in because I was never convicted. The judge is saying, so it's a 404B exception, right? You can't show past character. You can't say in court, because you stole this cookie, right? Now, when all my cookies are missing, it must have been you because you stole cookies before. That is not allowed in court. However, if you can show, wow, every time somebody stole cookies, there was red lipstick left on the cookie wrapper. There was a yellow dress. There was this. We saw boho braids, and they went live and distracted. And you show all that. You can use that as a 404B exception, because I'm not trying to actually convince the jury that you ate the cookies. I'm trying to convince the jury that every time cookies went missing, we saw red lipstick on the wrapper, we saw a yellow dress, and we saw boho locks. That's what we saw. Diddy's team is called flat-footed. It looks like all of these witnesses are going to be admitted. And again, the breaking news is there are way more than 4 victims. Diddy is just keeping them secret. How is that? Diddy has an enterprise letter. The enterprise letter is when they made Diddy known for all his co-conspirators and also the witnesses and who's going to be testifying. Diddy's been screaming about this letter for months. They got the letter on time. Now, the enterprise letter is a whole different thing. Let me just say this real quick before I go, because y'all need to know this, okay? All right, for your coffee cooler chats, all right? The enterprise letter is a whole different thing. Why is that? Because Diddy knows exactly what's in there. But the thing is, let's not forget that Diddy was accused of doing what? Diddy was accused of trying to jury trap her and trying to scare people away from testifying. Diddy thought that they couldn't get maybe any more witnesses or even more victims, especially because they say that the women and men that Diddy supports, sugar daddy, they are also sex trafficking victims. When Diddy got that enterprise letter, his heart dropped because the government did their research and they found out stuff, because don't forget, they broke into Diddy's iCloud. They found out stuff that Diddy never thought they would find out about. Okay, so they found out stuff that Diddy never thought that they would find out about. Okay, great. However, in that enterprise letter, everything is outlined and listed. That's where Diddy found out that all these people he did horrible things to are going to be testifying against him. And they are saying that Diddy is scared. They are saying that Diddy is shocked. They are saying that Diddy is cooked. And I tend to also believe that. With the enterprise letter, let's also not forget that Diddy's trying to now use the enterprise letter as an excuse to push the trial back. The government's not going for it. Why? Because even with the enterprise letter, the dates that the government had to submit the enterprise letter, which is very valuable to defense, was already stated. Diddy and Mark Agnifilo agreed to the dates. They argued to the dates. If anything, instead of actually trying to do anything that would, further the case along, Mark Agnifilo was filing like stupid motions, distractions, saying that they think that like the prison guard works for the federal government and all this other stuff. Like when I say works for the prosecution and all this stuff, they thought that these smoke screens would work and they would derail the government. Now, why are people saying that happened? Because people said that the reason he hired Mark Agnifilo is because don't forget that Mark Agnifilo's wife, who also happens to be his partner in the law firm, built out the Southern District of New York's sex trafficking unit. When you pay for a lawyer like Mark Agnifilo, you're paying for their connections. Hear me out. Look at my old live streams about Diddy. Yeah, I went into syndication, but I got key information. And
Facts.
I'm nobody. Imagine what Mark Agnifilio and his wife, who used to work at the Southern District of New York, who are friendly with prosecutors, who have moles in the grand jury. Imagine the information that they could get. And with legal games, it's all a chess game. And the more information you have, it's a chess game. The more information, it's like Battleship. The more information you have, the more you can short circuit the defense. Well, Mark Agnifilio misjudged because Mark Agnifilio came out on the steps when Diddy was first arrested and said something in ego that people said destroyed the whole case. What did he say? He came out and said, yes, Diddy got arrested, but this wasn't a surprise. We all knew this was happening. We knew that a grand jury was subpoenaed. And that was incredible for a couple of things. One, everybody called me a liar when I said there was a grand jury indictment subpoena happening. Everybody called me a liar and said I was making it up. No, I had actual sources that told me there was a grand jury indictment happening. However, by Mark Agnifilio admitting that he knew that Diddy was going to be arrested and they knew that was going on in the grand jury, because grand jury indictments are secret. Nobody's supposed to know except for the people testifying, the jury, and the prosecution. Defense is left out of it, okay? Now, toward the end, they did invite Diddy to speak at the grand jury, but that was more to mess with his mind. That was more to mess with his mind. Like, oh yeah, we have been investigating. Do you want to come say a few words? One of the reasons that is really scary, and Diddy would have been a fool to do that, is because you don't know, or not supposed to know, what the grand jury indictment held or what they were questioning people about. So it's basically like you going in and you might be giving them information that puts you under the jail. Well, let's get back into Mark Agnifilio. One of the reasons people said he came out and said that, oh, we already knew, Yana, we knew there was a thing, was because Diddy was shocked. Mark Agnifilio had been promising him the moon. He really thought he was going to beat the case. When he got arrested by prosecutors, Diddy was looking at Mark Agnifilio like, por qué? What happened? What's going on? Mark Agnifilio did that to stay face because Diddy was sliding down walls. But in doing that, he exposed something to the Southern District of New York. They realized that the connections and the friendship that Mark Agnifilio and his wife have, Diddy is not paying $200,000 a week in law fees for nothing. That all of the connections they had, well, they were using them and the connections were talking. So whether Mark Agnifilio was telling the truth and people were giving him information or not, the Southern District of New York said, yeah, thanks for telling us. And they put a lockdown. And they're saying that they have actually been feeding false information to any would-be spies that Mark Agnifilio could be potentially leveraging. And again, when that happened, I said, and again, it's legal to do that. I said, I don't know. Is that what they're doing? But now that we see that the government is always 2 steps away from Mark Agnifilio and his defense has crumbled so much so that they are trying to move this trial back to June 1st. Well, yeah, it makes it believe that the government got one over on Diddy and Mark Agnifilio. So what does that mean? Diddy is sliding down walls right now. I know those rats and roaches are like, trying to like furiously get out of that jail cell before Diddy comes home, because baby, it is a mess. Again, Diddy made his bed and now he has to lie in it. He should have kept Anthony Rico on board. Anthony Rico is one of the best trial attorneys to do it. But because he did not keep Anthony Rico on board, he now has to go with Mark Garagos. Don't get me wrong. Yes, that Mark Garagos from the OJ trials. But however, when it comes to cases like this, not the DA, but the actual federal prosecution, I believe Anthony Rico would have been the right choice. He has connections, he knows how to sway a lawyer. He is one of the best trial attorneys in America. He has represented Satan and got them off. However, Diddy's own ego and also the fact that Mark Agnifilio and Tinny Garagos, no relation to Mark Garagos, literally knew what they were doing. And the fact that they tried to say that the only black man on the case, Anthony Rico, and when Anthony Rico started ringing the bell, like, you are not ready. This is not a good thing. I know you don't like jail. I get it. But you need to slow this down because you think you're going to get out. And I think you're going to make yourself stay in jail forever. When he rang the alarm bell, they are saying that Mark Agnifilio restricted access to Anthony Rico for actually alerting Diddy. Diddy's ego, his pride, and everything else refused to let him believe. And now we see this courtroom showdown. Y'all, listen, this is an absolute mess. Diddy was just humiliated in court. The judge was looking at him funny. Not funny, but Diddy was like, had a weird thing where his face, I guess his mask kept slipping. Everybody's just looking like, what is going on? They're saying his anger was palatable. He had white hair looking like Old Man River, and he is now begging to slow this trial down that he begged to speed up. And the judge said, this freight train is going nowhere. Anyway, you guys, that was the live tweet. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll do a little quick 10-minute recap for anybody that has any questions. But yeah, this was really, really bad for Diddy, and it shows he is not prepared for trial. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Man, I'm letting y'all know right now, dude, Diddy, y'all going through all this mess for no reason. Diddy, you're not getting out of jail, man. I'm sitting here doing all these reactions, covering all this Diddy stuff, being shocked, pinching myself. I can't believe this man is in jail. This man that I looked up to. And who didn't want to be like him? Russell Simmons and all these other negative people. I'm like, why them and not us? Now I see why. Because we are not willing, we're not able to do this bad, negative stuff that they doing. Jesus Christ. If I would have known, if y'all would have said, look, man, you got to do some negative stuff to be down with us, and you be a millionaire. No, thank you. I don't want that. I don't want that. I believe in God, man. So that's just it. That's just this. I don't know what else to say, man. We can calculate for, what is it? March, April, May. Wait a minute. March, April, May 12th. I always get March and May mixed up, and my birthday sits in between. My brain thinks different. May 12th is when I'm starting. You can push forward and back and all this stupidity stuff. That's the trial date. I want to start from the day he got locked up and never got out of jail. This man is going to be in jail. Time served my tale. No, you tried to fight and said you was innocent. Now you've found guilty. So your time starts right now after we had guilty. Well, Your Honor, we was holding you just to make sure you come here today. Y'all want to play the daggone, we give you time served because you've been in jail for the last, 5 or 6 months. Nah, cousin. Put the hammer down on them. You lied to the court. You still lying. You are a liar. The first thing the government needs to do, the first thing this world needs to do is separate truth tellers from liars. If you tell a lie, you should be punished. If you knowingly tell a lie, you should be punished. I bet you that'll straighten up a lot of this shit. Got too much bullshit going.
Bullshit? Bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah, I'm getting my stuff set up. Got too much of that going on in this world. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. So if they do push back, it's only going to be 2 weeks. Hooray.